Welcome back to our week 2 of the Grade 4 Science Fair, or Engineering and Design Unit 5. This week you're going to continue on with your presentation, and you're actually going to write what your problem is going to be along with your hypothesis page. So the first thing I'd like you to do is make sure that you have your My Experiment presentation open. On the title page, state the name of your experiment. That should be very simple, and you may want to put your name on there as well. And then on the second page, which is your first content page, you will have the subtitle Problem on it. On this page, state the problem that you are trying to solve. This should be the plant or animal experiment you began thinking about last week. If you're still unsure, take a look at Google or YouTube again. Also, in the e-session this week, or you can view the fourth grade e-session from this week for some different sites that have some great ideas for plant and animal experiments. Your problem statement should be in the form of a question. So an example of that would be, which vegetable produces the most fruit from equal quantities of fruit? So if you were to juice the fruits, you'd be measuring the quantities of juice. On the third page, which is your second content page, I want you to create the title hypothesis. This is where you're going to propose an answer to the question. So this should be in a statement format. An example would be, I believe that if I take 1 cup of 15 different vegetables, a potato would produce the most liquid. And again, this is just an example. It isn't necessarily something that I would choose as my hypothesis, but I'm giving you an example of how there's a question as the problem and then a statement as the hypothesis. On each of these pages, make sure to include pictures to enhance the presentation. And your math connection this week will be a picture for your hypothesis page. In your math connection, you should have an idea of what you'll be experimenting on. And what I want you to do this week is draw a plan of your experiment. Make sure to write what your measurements will be in the drawing. And what I mean by that is you should have on this drawing a measurement of the height of whatever you expect to be creating, the width and the length. And there should be 3 separate little pictures. And at the bottom, number 4 here, it says, does state what your blueprint should include, the top view, front view, and side view. With each of these, just make sure you have some sort of measurements on them. So if you are going to be doing a plant experiment, or even let's use the juicing one that I just had as the example. If you're using a juicer, which some of you may have, measure how tall that is. And that's going to be a picture of what your experiment looks like, and then have fruit sitting around it. It's just to show me that you're truly planning out your ideas and thinking ahead. Then what I want you to do is create a T-chart, which looks like this. And in the left-hand column, I want you to put the estimated length, width, and height on there. And make sure to put it in inches or centimeters. You'll be revisiting this later in the unit to see how accurate your picture was. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be 100% accurate, but again, this is to show that you're planning. When you complete your drawing, which would be those 3 drawings, make sure to place it in your hypothesis page. For your literacy connection this week, you're going to be working on that presentation, and you're going to be taking notes on the problem and the hypothesis page. Make sure to use one of the 2 note-taking strategies that we talked about, so either bullet point or fully written out, and those should be in your notes section. Make sure on the problem page to include an explanation of the problem you were trying to solve and why you're trying to solve that problem. And also make sure to include on the hypothesis page what you think the answer to your question may be and why you think this will help in solving your problem.